Countdown. I forgot about that.
All right. We're live for the first time.
Out in interwebs.
That's right. We're getting a little more complicated now. But
Getting some
before
fancy.
we, yes, before we get into it, though, let's play our intro.
Push the button.
You are listening to the Foamy Heads Podcast, where we discuss.
Oh,
You are listening
whoops.
to the Foamy Heads
Whoa.
Podcast,
My bad.
where
That
we
was the
discuss
magic
craft beer and anything else that accompanies a glass.
Yeah,
Hell
Saint
yeah.
Bernardus. That's dope, man.
Yeah. I
Oh, love
accidentally
it.
did the intro twice because I moved my beer around it. It tapped my mouth just right. And it was like, okay, you're listening to it again.
Need more intro.
Yes, yes.
That's
Dude,
awesome.
I'm so glad to be able to talk with you about beer today, man.
Yeah, you're in your new place too, man. It looks good.
It's getting there.
Mm.
I've got boxes to go through. Weirdly enough, this is 4 boxes, all cords. So I'm
Mm.
like kind of stuck in a cord hell. So I'm gonna have to take everything, itemize it out, and then do the whole organizing thing, right? I don't know the words I'm looking for on that, but it's gonna be a mess and time consuming. So
Well, you're back in Murfreesboro too.
I am, yes. It's funny. All the roads immediately started populating back into me. Like I had a old archived index of all the parallel roads and stuff, and then it just came flying back out.
Yeah.
So
Riding a bike,
it
man. Murfreesboro's not that big anyway.
no, yeah, it's all like one road that just kind of does this. At least whenever you're putting campus here, and then all the outlying businesses are around it.
A
Then
bunch of
there's
dudes that can't drive.
yeah, Old Fart Parkway and yeah, all
Yeah, it's
sorts
so
of fun
true.
roads. Yeah. I'm on the one road that's like Northfield, South Rutherford, Middle Tennessee Boulevard. It
Mhm.
changes like 5 times in one just direction.
Yep.
So, uh, anyway,
You're
it's been
here
a
now.
trip. I am here now. I just hooked the mics up today,
You
actually.
sound
So,
good.
yeah, I had a dumb moment whenever I was putting everything together. I was like, man, I cannot hear like myself. Why is this happening? And I had my mixer volume just
Rookie mistake. That sounds like something I would do during setup. Matter of fact, I think that happened one time when we were at Craft Brewed setting up for Pretentious and getting ready, and I was talking into the mic and couldn't figure out why it wasn't working.
yep, yep. But let's get into it, dude. We didn't even coordinate what kind of beer, what style, anything.
Mm-mm.
Tonight was just a general catch up kickoff just to get back into the motion of talking
Yeah.
about craft beer. And it's something I love to drink, talk about, and talk about with industry folk.
Yeah.
So
And I
we
love
got
doing this because I mean, you and I like to coordinate oftentimes a lot of what we're going to be drinking. And so that way we have kind of a general consensus of how we're going to be sharing opinions and thoughts and things like that. But every once in a while, when you just say, hey, let's get on and just talk about what we're drinking, I have no idea. We didn't talk about that at all.
no.
We were supposed to meet up Thursday, and that didn't happen. So we're meeting up tonight. And I have no idea what you're drinking. You have no idea what I'm drinking tonight. I assume it's going to be local.
Not
No.
tonight.
Okay. See, I have no
Yep.
clue what you're drinking
Yep.
tonight.
Yep.
You
I
can,
do have
you
local
can,
glassware though.
okay. I also have local glassware, and it's not the same brewery as the beer I'm drinking tonight. We're all over the place tonight, basically.
We are. We are. So I went over to Aaron Hortman's uh, place of beer, Main Street Liquor,
Shout out Main
and
Street.
yeah, and I think they're what's their Instagram? It's like Beer Lords
Mm-hmm.
at Beer Lords. Anyway, North Coast
Old Rasputin. Ho, 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 ho.
barrel aged.
Ooh.
I've always enjoyed Old Rasputin, but the barrel aged is just even better. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to have this again. It's a treat. We used to not be able to really get it in Middle Tennessee, but now with distribution opening up and just being more, I don't know, accessible, Tennessee's gotten a wider selection, and I know Aaron is doing a damn fine job of bringing in good beer.
I don't get it. Main Street is one of those places where I go, oh, I need to go there more often. I just never get a chance to get down there. And every time I do, I spend way too much money. Like they even have carts at the front. And I grab one and I always make the joke about, oh, I'm going to need a cart to fill all this thing up. And I do. I always, I always end up walking out with a shit ton of beer. And it's just
Yes.
like, Aaron, I helped pay for your rent this month. You're welcome. And thank you for bringing in all the beer.
Stuff. He knows too much.
Yeah. He's been on the show a couple of times. When we were hanging out with was it Three Floyds?
Yep.
We had the rep from Three Floyds, and then I think he was here one other time as well. So and that's just him being on the show. I mean, we've had multiple conversations with him. We've met up with him multiple places, multiple times. He's just knowledgeable dude. Best place in Nashville to buy craft beer, hands down. I mean, it's no. I think that's even actually a fact. I think you actually won an award. One year I know for sure, could have been two, best place in Nashville to buy beer. I mean, it's just he's stocked constantly.
Yeah.
Shout out to Aaron Hortman.
Dude's a beast. He knows what he's talking about, and he hooks people up with good stuff. So
yeah,
zero complaints from anybody, in my opinion.
You and I, man, we couldn't have been more different tonight. I mean, 100% different. You're going barrel aged, Russian Imperial Stout, 11 point. I was looking it up, 11 point something, 11.6.
Yes.
Yeah. Golly, man.
It's delicious.
I have not had the barrel aged version of it. I've had regular Old Rasputin, and I think you turned me on to that. And it was solid. I've got a Southern Grist New England hazy IPA that New England Double India Pale Ale called 1000th Unique Beer from Southern Grist. So this is one that DJ gave me. Nice. I know absolutely nothing about it other than it gets high marks over and over and over again from all my buddies that check it in. It's 8%, so I mean it's heavy. It's on the heavier side. It's definitely a double, but it's not going to wreck my brain tonight. Yeah. It's not 11.6 like yours is.
Man, I need it. I've been moving boxes and I've been on my feet. I need something a little heavier handed for me.
Yep.
But yeah, dude,
for sure,
I popped my top.
Here we Pour go. It up.
Oh yeah, I'm using the Mythos Living Waters Brewing.
I see that. I've got the shout out Crazy Gnome. I've got my Crazy Gnome glass here tonight.
Oh yes, love those guys.
Crazy Gnome was, I want to say, Crazy Gnome was the third. They were definitely our first on-site interview, I believe, weren't they? Yeah, because we talked first with Ryan, Living Waters, and then we were with Byron with Proper Sake. Those were both remote sessions.
Yeah.
And then I think from there, I mean, we might have. I can't remember if we were talking with Kat first, the beer rep for. Not anymore, actually.
Yeah,
I think she's with Creature Comforts now. Oh no, she moved into the liquor industry. That was what it was.
That's what it was.
Yeah. But yeah, our first on-site interview show was with Crazy Gnome. And we got a chance to sit there and learn their story about opening up during COVID and then the tornadoes and just
that's such bad spell after bad spell, just constantly. But they're, as far as I know, they're just rocking it now. And they're right next to, guess who? Main Street Liquor.
Yep.
Where we get our beer. So
It's always a good run. You can hit Smith and Lentz, and then you can go to No Quarter, play some pinball, sober up, or keep drinking if you want to, and then go hit Crazy Gnome and get some beer. And they're on the Hot Passport too. I think Crazy Gnome is one of the stops for the maybe not the Hot Passport, but one of the craft beer trucks in Nashville. So I think they're actually one of the first stops. So you can jump off and from time to time when you pop in there, you'll see a bus getting off or a trolley getting off with a bunch of people hopping into Crazy Gnome.
Oh, that's cool.
And then when you're done, you just hop over to Main Street Liquor and spend whatever money you have left over.
Man, that sounds awesome. I went to Smith and Lentz a couple days ago, and Pizza Palace. I think it was like a Citra hopped pilsner.
Yeah,
so good. It's a crusher, and I forget that they serve it in a giant stein like thing. It's not just a pint; it's more, I think, than a pint.
It's tall. It's got the handle on it, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. It was awesome.
I'm telling you, man, Smith and Lentz they were kind of my foray into pilsners again, because pilsners were definitely not on my list, but they were one of the first ones to start hopping them, dry hopping them, double dry hopping pilsners. And that kind of got me turned back onto them. And then, of course, Ryan, Living Waters, bangs out any pilsner he makes is solid. So I love those too. But yeah, it's Smith and Lentz always delivers. You just took a sip of yours. Did you get a chance to get the nose yet?
Oh yeah. I was able to smell this one the second I popped its bottle. Oh, it's so sweet smelling.
Okay.
It's got you can smell the barrel aged agedness on it. It's so good.
That was thick pouring too, man. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. This is looks like I was looking up the history or what I can find real quick on Rasputin. So this is the 24th. What I'm looking at is the 22nd. So let me see if they've actually added this one to their copy. XXIV. Yeah, they did. Okay. They make a page, so I'll go ahead and just share this so that you and the audience can follow along.
Pop it up on the screen. Let's see what we got.
So let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh man, this is exactly it right here. So
wow.
Prior to 2010, it was released in very limited quantities. And I couldn't tell you what the first one I had was. You know, it's been a minute. But it definitely poured jet black. It's definitely toffee colored brown foam, and it had a great foamy head to it. Let's see. The notes were super sweet, like a vanilla. There's a vanilla, but you could tell it was like a bourbon one because of the sweeter smell. Yeah. So the creaminess, man.
Beer pours jet black with a comforting layer of toffee colored brown foam.
Yes. Oh, everything here is exact. It did exactly this. It's very creamy, and it's perfect for that kind of fireside sipping. You know, coats the mouth, warm, tingling heat. Definitely, it's got there's alcohol in this one. you can feel it. But it's just so, I don't know. Old Rasputin's good, but the barrel aged one just brings it that next level. So you're never going to be disappointed with this beer.
Is that a full 12-ounce bottle?
I believe so. Just to verify, 12 fluid ounces. Yeah,
12 fluid. Okay, it's just a different size bottle than. I mean, it looks like it's one of those shorter ones, but it looks a little bit thicker than a normal 12-ounce bottle.
See, the last note here, I thought I was tasting a little bit of like a dark berry, and sure enough, they're saying it finishes like a raisin or dark fruit.
Notes of raisins and berry-like fruits. You know what? I picked up on a little bit of that on the non-barrel aged Old Rasputin. I got the only, and this is just me, but Old Rasputin was such a good experience and such a good drinking beer. I think the first time I had it was at Deep South Growlers, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. They had it on tap, so I got one there, and you might have been with me. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look at my Untapped. But the only thing that I could, the only thing that kind of experienced a little bit, I'm not big on raisins, and the non-barrel aged that I had there that day had the ever so slightest hint of raisin, kind of like dark fruit raisin at the end. And it was just enough for me to go, oh, it's there. But it disappeared rather quickly. And I mean, it's such a small, minute complaint compared to all the other flavors that beer has to offer that was probably a little bit of a detractor for me. I don't know if I would pick up nearly as much of it with the barrel aged version because I'm guessing that takes precedence.
Yeah, you get a little note, and it's kind of like the mid flavor. After it's kind of went away and it's residual, you pick
Mm.
up a little bit of the darker fruit notes, or the raisin like things. But then the barrel age kind of like hit comes back.
Are you drinking that one really, really cold, or have you let that one warm up for a little bit?
This one came out of the fridge before the call, so it's definitely chilled. It'll warm up pretty quickly. I've got my hand on it most of the time here.
Curious to see if that flavor changes.
Oh yeah, very curious.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've treated old Rasputin or its barrel aged version with the care that I've learned as I grew deeper and deeper into craft beer. So,
We've learned a lot, man, over the multiple seasons that we've had here.
yeah,
Um, everything from uh, temperature of beer and how to enjoy beer at a certain temperature to freshness. I think Ryan was probably one of the more prominent ones, Ryan from Living Waters, to tell us about,
yeah,
hey, if when I release a beer, that means it's ready. You can age it, but some of your more adjuncts are going to fall out a little bit.
hmm
Some of your coffee stouts are going to kind of lose a little bit of that roastiness flavor. Barrel ages typically can be aged for longer. Something with cinnamon is going to mellow out over time, things like that.
yeah.
IPAs definitely need to be enjoyed fresh.
I learned that the
Super.
hard way.
Yeah. Well, a couple of times actually. I think most recently on our show at was it Smokers Abbey when we were hanging out with
I think so. Aaron and
uh-huh
oh, I'm blanking
couple
on
of
his
old
name.
school IPAs.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
I,
okay. I mean,
we it was from our Atlanta trip two,
mhm.
3 years ago now.
Yeah.
Time's just like melting away, but yeah, I held on to those way too long, and then I had more because Monday night was just so kind to us. They sent us
Yeah.
home with too much beer. But
Peter Kiley, shout out Peter Kiley.
Peter Kiley's the man. He's awesome. We'll have to go back. We got to go back and bring some Nashville to him, even though Monday night's here in Nashville now. Too.
Yeah, their preservation society is such a dope place to hang out.
Oh, and he's doing work with all sorts of local breweries here in Nashville too.
Really?
He's worked with Barrique, which is huge because dude's from wine country. Like he
Mhm.
knows and wine
Oh, I didn't
to a
think
T.
about that.
And Barrique is also in that parallel. So
Uh-huh.
they both then went to beer, which is perfect. The relationship's perfect. So I cannot wait to see what they come up with. And already I'm missing out. Right now I'm missing out on proper sake collaborations with Barrique. Doing everything that I was hoping they would do.
Man.
But I just gotta get over there. I've been moving, I've been working.
We don't have excuses. Well, we have work, I guess. We could use that as an excuse.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're back in the borough, man. Now we can actually we can meet up a lot more face to face.
Definitely. And let's show off your can again.
Yeah,
What's that?
absolutely. So this is the Southern Grist 1000th unique. Throw it up on the screen right there.
Scan for a chance to win $1,000. Nice.
You know what? Let's do this. Let's scan it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna scan it on the show right now. I haven't done this yet.
What a
So,
I'm very curious. You're gonna have to split that with DJ if you win.
shh. No.
You heard it here first.
Okay. So, no, you didn't hear shit here first. Okay.
Is it
So,
a QR code that you have to
it
scan?
is a QR code. So, on the side right here, there's a QR code. Too fast. Nobody can
Make
scan
sure
it.
you yeah.
So, when I scan it, you know what? I have a feeling that this is going to take me just to. Thanks for playing and supporting us on our journey. While you may not have won the $1,000 grand prize, you are still a winner in our book. We truly
Nice.
appreciate the support. Without it, 1,000 unique beers in under 7 years would have surely not been possible. Thanks again, and we hope to see you in our tap room soon. Okay, so this is awesome. I thought this was kind of like a play on Untapped because on Untapped they have certain levels of badges, right? You get your very first check-in, you get a badge, and then once you hit like 50 and 100, and then 250, and then 500, and then once you hit 1,000, you get like some special badge. I thought that's what this was, and this is, although it could still be a play on it. I don't know, 1,000th unique beer, but this is, for all intents and purposes, their 1,000th beer that they've made. So, I mean, obviously that makes sense now, but I always thought it was just a play on words from Untapped,
yeah.
our favorite social media.
I'm gonna apologize again. What was the name of it?
1,000th unique beer.
1,000th unique beer.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull up a description for it. Unique beer.
They don't have, so I'm looking on, I
Like
actually,
Untapped got it, but
yeah, Untapped has it, but it's not that descriptive.
yeah.
I couldn't find much on it other than when I scanned the QR code, it took us right to just the regular Southern Grist Brewing site.
Yeah.
So there's really not much to it. But from what I do know, I mean, it's 8%, Galaxy, Citra, Cashmere hops. So I mean, it's a very good combination. It's very creamy, very hazy, very juicy, not overly bitter. Citra hops, obviously my favorite. Galaxy hops are probably a close second or third in my book. Cashmere hops kind of add a little bit of subtle underlying creamy to it, but they're not. Cashmere hops are very smooth. They're not very bitter at all. They're very low on the alpha acid unit scale, but I understand why they're there. They're there to help kind of keep this beer mellow and keep it from just getting too, not necessarily bitter, but too hoppy. Cashmere is very good at kind of dialing back those notes. 8%, so it's extremely drinkable.
Yeah.
I have to be very careful when I'm drinking this beer because it goes down way too easy. What is
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
Yeah. Like for the past 2, 3, 4 years, maybe even the whole time they've been open, it's like they've from out of staters from just regionally, Tennessee, the Bible Belt, both sides of the belt are
Mm-hmm.
seeking Southern Grist beers
Yep.
just relentlessly. So anything Southern Grist you can trade for a hot dollar, and some other category of beer or other big name. Good for us, but
Yeah.
it's just wild to me. I'm like Southern Grist because I'm in a point where it's weird. We've always kind of talked about how we've traveled through our craft beer thing. IPAs have always had their own timeline, in my opinion, because we're hopheads, and at the end of the day, we love the Citra hops and all the varieties that we've started to learn about. There's so many out there, but we all know they're practically all from the same place. the Yakima Valley.
The Yakima Valley hops. Yeah.
God, we'll have to make a tour out there one day and just smell the aromas. But it's just now I want beer flavored beer, whereas Southern Grist is still one of the places in Nashville you go to for like a fruity kind of concoction.
Oh yeah.
So it's interesting just where how that's been developing, and um, I'm still just not 100% on board. Even their stouts are super sweet, and at some point, whenever the stouts are just consistently sweet, 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 all I can taste is like adjunct with a stout
Hmm.
profile, and it's just like my lines get really blurred because I've been more leaning into the beer flavored beer than the pastry stouts than the slushy stuff and all that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
450 North is doing a lot of the goop, I guess,
Hmm.
right? So
Gloop.
it's just yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
more of a I can lean more into gloop than I can a pastry stout right now, which is weird.
Hmm.
But it's just an odd way of how your palate just changes. It changes its direction every year or year and a half or whatever, and you're just like, oh, I'm really digging this now. But it's been a while since I've had just basic beers, and I think it's because of that. Now I'm into really generic, classic style beers like pilsners. I love pilsners now.
Good point. Um, the the amount of beer and styles that just Nashville,
Yeah.
has had over the last 4 years, and I would even venture to say that it got stupid crazy even like during and after COVID, because
Mm.
when people couldn't um when breweries couldn't rely on getting income from the tap rooms, they had to get creative, right? So I mean, you found breweries collabing with other breweries. You had beers for a cause. You had the Black is Beautiful series that everybody was jumping on, and then war with Ukraine started once everything opened back up. So then you had the fight for Ukraine beers. So everybody's constantly brewing with other people and coming out with very unique styles, and they've realized that I don't want to say they've shot themselves in the foot, but they have set the standard for people that drink craft beer, because
True.
people are now no longer like, oh, I just want a clean flavored beer, or at least they didn't at first. They were like, oh, Bearded Iris has a new IPA, Southern Grist has a new IPA, or 450 has a new sour beer, so the standard is always come out with something else, come out with something else, and you deviate away from your traditional style beers, and eventually you have so many IPAs and so many stouts with so many different adjuncts and so many sours. You just find yourself going, I would love to have just a regular style beer. So when Panther Creek came out with beer flavored beer, was actually the name of their beer, and it was just super clean. It popped. It was very refreshing. I mean, and you looked at it, looked nothing like this. You could see right through it.
Mm-hmm.
It was super light, tons of flavor, and it was like I drank three of them that day. It was hot outside. I had one. I had another one, and then I had another one. So I found myself going back to those styles, and that's kind of where when Smith and Lentz, I started falling back in love with pilsners at Smith and Lentz. Granted, they're hoppy pilsners and things like that, but they're clean. They're not
Super.
they're not hazy and gloopy and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. It's we've deviated so far from regular beer that
Yeah.
now we find ourselves coming back to it, because when you get to the point where you have sour IPAs and coffee IPAs and sour stouts, you're running out of things to do.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than just try to do something that nobody's going to like, just go back to the time of happenstance where people just want to drink regular beer
Yes.
and be good at it.
Yes.
Be good at it.
Be good at it. Also, the regular beer thing can be twisted in a like extra ingredient way too.
Mm-hmm.
Barik and proper sake. They threw koji into a beer, and there might even be a special yeast that Byron provided as well. I'd have to
Hmm.
go look it up, but dude, I want to go try it out because it's a Yamaha style,
Hmm.
and I love the Yamaha style sake. And for those of you who don't know, I even have one of my favorites just right here next to me. It's awesome.
Nice.
It's just it's interesting. This one's really complicated to me. This is a little out of my league when it coming to like try to explain it, but it's a Tamagawa heirloom Yamaha Genshu, and it's just so good. You Genshus are unpasteurized, so you keep them chilled, and they're so flavorful. So um, this one tastes like soy sauce. It's very umami
Oh.
forward. It's not like I say soy sauce, but it gets you in the right ballpark. It's different,
Yeah.
trust me. But it's definitely in a similar zone where it makes your taste buds sweat a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been interesting. For the past year now, I've been sharing those kind of sakes with breweries and their staff. And about 78%. I forget the last division, and I think I lost my spreadsheet, so I have no statistics anymore of just like quantity of people that have tasted it. There's only been a few people that have really gravitated towards the fruitier, like Namagenshu's versus the umami side of things.
Hmm.
Almost every beer drinker prefers a heavier, like umami profile with sake rather than the fruity light lift. It's it blew my mind. I thought it would be the opposite, especially with like
Yeah.
pastry stouts
Mm-hmm.
and just that are more gentle to your palate and makes you think of like what you enjoyed as when you were more in your youth and stuff. But most of the staff and most of the people that are in the craft prefer that heavier umami flavor. So
Would not expect that.
no. So I'm still going to continue testing. I'll probably have to start my list over from scratch, but we may do a test now whenever we go interview a brewery. You know, we'll bring the heavy umami and the fruity one and see what happens.
I think one of my favorite sessions we've ever done was completely by surprise was Byron at Proper
Mm,
Sake. I mean, everybody we talked to is great. Everybody
yes.
we've had discussions with, super open, amazing people to talk to, very forthcoming with not only knowledge about the industry, but knowledge about the process. And that's what we loved hearing and talking about. Um, Byron sat down with us and went through the process of sake, and I was
Mm-hmm.
completely blown away. I thought I was going to be out of my element, but just having somebody like him explain the process and talk about his passion for sake got me to want to drink more of it.
Yes.
And I had never ever been um, a big sake fan until you started talking to me about it. And then, like most beginners, oh yeah, well, at a Japanese restaurant or whatever, I'll drink hot sake or whatever. And you're like, well, have you ever had it cold before? And I was like, no, like I didn't know you're supposed to drink it cold. And of course we went through that experience where I had the cold unfiltered sake, and then we saved a bunch. We saved probably a good taster for 3 or 4 people for at least what 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
almost 10 years, and we got to come back to Rice Vice and share it with Byron at Proper Sake sometime
Yes.
later.
That was the drunken snapper.
The
And
Drunken Snapper,
yes, or red snapper.
Red Snapper. Okay, yeah.
But it's Narutatai Ginjo Nama Genshu. It's a unpasteurized, super fruity, flavorful. It's pretty clear,
Mm-hmm.
as far as a depiction of it goes, and it's got like a color to it. It's like a yellowy green. It's hard to tell, like explain it, but it's a oil can. It reduces
Mm-hmm.
weight on shipping, but it keeps it just as protected. I love it, and it's got a or not cloth paper like label here.
And this
Um,
is this is less on the umami side, right?
yes, this is
This
more
is more
fruity.
on the fruity. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, you're giving us the okay to ship unpasteurized sake because you gotta pick that stuff up off your doorstep and chill it.
Mm,
They pack it with everything they can to keep it cool for so
yeah.
long. But yeah, there comes a time where it gets kind of bad. But
I would love to find that again.
um, good news, we can always find it at Namazake Paul, and his website works, but is that it? This seems like an old. Oh, he might have gotten a new website now that we're
Mm.
talking about it. Interesting. Because his store was super slow, and I had to try checkout several times.
Mm.
Oh, he's got the Gokyo. Those are super fun to get into, but I've not had them yet. I've just read about them. But Naruto Tai is seasonal. Naruto Tai. Oh, so he's got nothing right now because it's seasonal.
Mm.
And that I see hand selected seasonal sake.
Yeah.
Sakes go through all sorts of seasons, and there's even like another type of calendar where the seasons are broke down past just four. Like, oh my gosh, there's so
Wow.
much stuff. There's so much to it. But yeah, I didn't know he actually changed that, and he's even got a Reddit.
He's got a Reddit
Nice.
form.
Of course he does. But shout out to Namazaki Paul. He's hooked me up with a lot of the sake I have right now, and I'm just spreading the love. So, um, he's a super cool dude. Um, anyway, nothing distribution wise here really has Naruto Tai, but we can get it from Paul.
Okay. We'll have to do that again. I wouldn't mind drinking half of it and then aging the other half behind an ice block for 10 more years.
I know, right? That'd be awesome.
That was a fun experience.
It didn't change too much, but it did have like a darker color to it. If you age sake, it gets golder,
Hmm.
and that one came out pretty gold, if I remember right, and it had
Mm.
a heavier palate taste, but still tasted true to what it was.
Super easy to drink. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of, how's that beer? It's yours is warmed up, I would imagine, immensely by now because I've seen you've been holding it between your hands and moving it around a little bit. Your flavor is
So,
opening up, changing at all?
oh yeah, the amount of bourbon kick is opening up way more now. You get more warmth on the palate. Um, you taste a little more of the vanilla and a little more of that. I guess it's like alcohol in a way. It's a
That burn.
yeah burn. So it's definitely I think at its peak right now.
Mm.
If it gets any warmer, it's gonna get kind of that warm syrup taste to it.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of, but yeah,
Man, there are people that will let that shit warm up all the way to room temperature and drink it. I
no.
good
I
for
like my
you.
whiskey neat, but damn, like
Yeah, it's true. I don't like my beer neat. I like my. I mean, obviously, that's a stupid statement.
yeah.
I don't like my beer room temperature. I like it. My stouts, I like cold or below
I
slightly
like
chilled.
I like them 55, 65 is like the
Mm.
sweet spot, but you got to drink it then. Otherwise,
Yep.
it's just warming up.
Yep.
That's why I typically start with them cold, like at what 40 something, or
Mhm.
and then you warm it up
Let
in
them
your
warm up
hand.
a little bit as you go. IPAs are a different story.
Oh yeah,
IPAs I like drinking not freezing ice cold. I have a former manager that if it warms up at all, he will not drink an IPA. He has to have it like ice chunks in his beer, as he likes to say.
oh
And that's the only way he'll drink an IPA, which is fine because he favors more of the West Coast style, like super dank, bitter, hoppy IPA. So
mm,
when it's that cold, it doesn't matter.
true,
It's all punch in your face anyway. These New Englands and the hazies and things like that, they do change in flavor a little bit as they warm up. You definitely do not want to get them to the same temperature as you would your Rasputin.
right,
You want to drink these quicker, um, or you want to consume them while they're still cold. You don't want to let them warm up before you drink them.
Yeah, I you don't want a warm IPA.
Ugh,
No.
those just taste like cat piss. I assume. I don't know. I
I
assume.
assume they only get worse.
Yes. This one, for example, so I'm literally like, as we're coming up on 40 minutes of our episode, I feel like it's right at the right time where I've got that last couple of sips in
Yeah.
here, and it's been the perfect time to drink this beer. Um, I honestly, on a normal day, I wouldn't be nursing a beer this quote unquote light for this amount of time, but I'm not mad. It's not to the point where it's not drinkable yet, but the more you drink and the less you have left, the more surface area and the glass opens up. So the warmer it gets faster. So I have
Yes.
to start drinking it faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
So I'm downing the last sip right now.
Man. Yeah, my Rasputin's right at peak. It's
Mm.
it tastes great. It's hitting really good right now. That
You've had a
11,
long few weeks, man. You deserve a good beer.
yeah, it's that 11% coming a long way. I've had one meal today or two. I don't remember anymore, but haven't had dinner yet. So
Oh, that's
that's
kicking in good then.
yes. But
So
yeah.
let's talk about during the last few minutes what we've got coming up this next year.
Oh yeah.
We've made a lot of good relationships over, gosh, even over the last 3 years that we've been doing this, and we've got hopefully some repeats coming back on the show. We stay in contact a lot with most of the people that we've talked with in the past and try to keep
Hmm.
up with them as much as possible. It's interesting because we've had reps on the show before that were with one brewery and then they've changed breweries. We've had reps that have moved from beer into liquor, and so we'll be getting them back on to discuss something different.
Yep.
And we have new ones in the pipeline too. So just reached out to one today that we're just waiting on a confirmation to get back. That's going to
Nice.
be a good time. We've already talked with them, and they're definitely interested in getting on the show. So I always love that kind of stuff. And we have trips too, right?
Hmm.
So I know we have plans to hit Dark Lord Day this year
Oh yeah.
up
Oh
in
yeah.
Indiana at Three Floyds.
Speaking of, most of that is gonna probably be like, I don't know the right term for it, but we'll be jumping on live
Yeah.
intermittently throughout the day just to say what's up. Here's Dark Lord. Here's what we're drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if we get some of that Hanji and all that stuff. We're gonna definitely go live for at least 5 minutes or something, and then shut it down because we're trying
Well,
to enjoy the beer. But
yeah, and then the drunker we get, the more we'll forget to do it. But
yes,
remember, keep in mind, last time, Mitch, we went to Dark Lord Day.
yeah,
Their internet was definitely lacking
yes,
when we were at the brewery, so we may not get a good enough connection
this is
to
true.
jump on live. So it might
Yeah,
be something that we do later on at the hotel that night.
yeah.
But
We
the
might take a
intent I
video.
remember last time was to, yeah, I remember the intent last time was to definitely jump on live, but I know I don't remember who your carrier was, but I had Verizon. We definitely didn't have good internet, not good enough internet to be able to
Right.
stream.
Yeah, I think I had
So
like Google.
Google Fi,
Yeah,
I know that's right.
yeah.
So I mean, we've got a ton. We've got trips coming up. I know we have plans to make it. At some point, we want to go back down to Atlanta again and maybe hit some more in Chattanooga again. So we have a busy year coming up.
Yep.
Just a lot of good knowledge, and we've already done so much the first couple months of the year already. We've other broadcasters, other shows in the community, Poor Choice, hanging out with the Poor Choice guys a lot.
Oh yeah.
So it's a good time to be in the craft beer community,
Yes. Oh,
and it's going to
I
be a
just
good 2023. Whew, you okay, Mitch?
old Rasputin.
I guess for those watching on YouTube right now, we'll be able to see what you're
Yeah.
experiencing. But for those
He's
of you that are
creating.
just listening in, the heartburn is starting to kick. Did you
Oh
burp?
yeah.
Is that what it was? Did it kind of come up a little bit?
It was a deep burp. He's creating a controversy right now. He's upsetting the political atmosphere in here. So
Old Rasputin, give no fucks.
yeah. So, but man, it was a fantastic beer. Just once again, barrel aged Rasputin.
Rate it.
Dude, This one has like a special place too. That's the sucky part because now it's almost a biased rating, but I'm
Mm,
gonna give it a 4.5.
nice. High
It's
marks.
definitely not like the best barrel aged stout ever,
Mm,
but man, it's freaking good, and
it
it's
looked good.
consistently delicious. Even though they switch it up every once in a while, it's like whiskey, bourbon, etc., rye. They
Mhm.
sometimes come out with like two in a year that have variations, but this one is my favorite, the bourbon style, and you just can't go wrong with a sweet bourbon.
Gosh, 4 or 5 high marks. Thousandth unique beer, Southern Grist. I'm thinking here. Um, I have had better from Southern Grist. I have definitely had worse from Southern Grist. This definitely sits in the 4 range for me. Um, I don't know if I would put it at 4 or 5. I think that I was at. Of course, there'll be a little bit of a delay from the time we've recorded this to the time it gets pushed out. But last night, from the time of the recording, I was at Lauder in Southern Grist East, so I was enjoying dinner and food and beers with a former coworker of mine, and I had one of their newer IPAs on tap. That was just amazing, and I think that would give higher marks than this one. But this 1000th unique beer, I think I would give a 4.25. So definitely a really good IPA from Southern Grist. I have had 4.75s from Southern Grist before, both in the stout and in the IPA category. So this is not my favorite from them, but it definitely deserves a high rating from me. So I'm going 4.25 on 1000th unique beer.
How would you rate their winning lottery ticket uh, thing on that? Do you think people went exclusively maybe for the winning can this time around with that, or
So
was the IPA maybe lacking, so they did a gimmick like that? I just don't know.
no, I don't think the IPA was lacking. I think it was like, I mean, obviously for their 1000th unique beer, it's cool to be able to make a beer and call it that because not very many breweries can do that.
That's true.
Um, Bearded Iris probably is the only one in Nashville that's at least close to that if they haven't hit it already.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't think they really just came up with a name to slap on a regular IPA. I definitely think they knocked it out of the park with this one. The beer itself was really good. The ability to win $1,000, 0 out of 1,000, basically. I'm gonna give it the rating that based on the amount of money that I won. I did not win jack shit from that one.
Yes.
Matter of fact, I'm going to go delete the accidental picture that I took of the QR code because it doesn't really deserve the space in my iPhone right now.
It's like all or nothing. Either it's 1,000 over 10 or a 0 out of 10
Or
on
zero
the
out of
gimmick.
10.
Yeah.
Give me
I'm
like $1 or give me a token for a free beer or something. Like that would have been,
Yeah.
make it like the lottery or like the Monopoly like McDonald's used to have.
Yeah. Well, whoever won that can or is to win that can, I don't know how old or new that can is,
Hmm.
but I hope they do it like a old news like channel where they walk up with a big check to their front door and they're just knocking and they're like, "Here's $1,000. Here's your big fat fake check,"
That's
and take it to the bank. But
right.
I feel like with 1,000th beer, if you win $1,000, $1,000 doesn't go as far as it used to.
Mm.
But because you'll spend that at Southern Grist in 2 weekends. But
Yeah,
sorry, Southern Grist, but it's true. And surely you can maybe have them like give them a tour of facilities, or I don't know, man. There's got to be like some extra stuff. I would think,
for
but
sure.
$1,000, hell, that's for sure.
I'll take $1,000 if they
Oh
want to pay
yeah,
me $1,000 for drinking their beer.
yeah. The $1,000 is like at the new $100 in
Yeah.
today's society.
After taxes, the $1,000 is, like you said, a couple of weekends at Southern Grist with dinner and beer.
Yeah,
Worth it.
Which-
Worth
it's
it.
great.
Their koji
Two
marinated
dates.
chicken thigh. 2 dates. That's it. This was
The
good,
way
man.
she goes.
That's the fucking way she goes. This was good. Can't wait. This is going to be up on YouTube. So if you're watching it on YouTube, hope you guys enjoyed yourself. And for those just listening in, welcome to 2023.
Yeah. 2023, we were late to kick it off, but we're so glad to be here.
Keep drinking beer.